Somebody needs to change out their battery and the smoke detector, boy.
Oh yeah,
I can't go another day with this on my mind, and I think it's time for a discussion. Why you so hard? Show me that you love me, baby. Why you so hard? Show me that you care. So many days, so many nights, so many tears. I had to cry. Told me you love me. That was a lie. Loving you was a mistake. Loving you was a mistake.
All right. Welcome to the Chatterbox with yours truly, King Jacob. I am the guy, King Jacob, and we are here with a live panel discussion with Classified Music Group and amongst with a lot of other great business professionals. Lou Almighty, what's good with you, man?
Your volume line.
Your volume ain't on, Lou.
Okay, yeah, now we fixed. What's going on? What's going on, people? How y'all doing? Jacob, what up,
We
brother?
good. What up, brother?
Good, man. Chilling, man. You know it.
So let's pop it off on why you wanted to do this workshop along with these classes, and if you can give us a briefing on how you came up with the whole, synopsis and how you orchestrated the whole workshop.
Okay, yeah. Well, it really started doing over the summer camp program, out there at the CUC 100 organization. We had the summer camp program going on for the kids, and we was out there educating, and a lot of the parents took heed. They liked what I was talking about. They kept hitting me up to do follow-ups, some private consultations, and more people just built on it. Me and DJ Cat X, we spoke on it, doing a couple of our events we was doing at the nightclubs, and a lot of the artists, they was intrigued as well. So we decided to just keep it pushing, make it bigger, make it better, add more people on, real industry music professionals, the ones that we have involved right now, Jamexi with Jamexi Productions, DJ Cat X, Skeeter Jones, DJ Stone Fab. There's a few more that's going to be involved as we grow and keep going along, but that's how it really started. It started from the people demanding it. They loving the education part of it, the information that we provided. So we decided to just keep rocking and rolling, man.
Okay. So, coming forth with what we're going to be talking about and giving these jewels out to artists, business owners, authors, so on and so forth. What is your expertise and what do you have in alignment to share, with the artists and the business owners, so on and so forth?
Yeah, really the workshop is the classified music workshop course, but I have this program that we have involved in it called the Independent Millionaire, where it comes with a brochure, basically a small booklet, and it's just educating the artists on business funding, but that all correlates from just getting your credit straight, creating, financial freedom and financial independence, mainly by focusing on self. Once you get yourself right, you get your business right, you're able to go out here and get funding in different directions. And the main thing is that having that credit score right. But once we get your personal credit right, I show you how to create LLCs or nonprofit organizations or 501c3, where you can go get the business funding now. And the personal funding, that's cool. You can get some money in that, but that business funding, that's when you could, get adequate funding where you can exceed expectations and exceed the level that you was at. So that was my whole goal, was to show the artists how to not depend on the record labels, not depend on the management companies. You can be independent by, making sure you straight, so you can go to the tables and have leverage. A lot of these artists, they want to go get these record deals, and it's cool to get a record deal. I don't knock the record deals. It's just when you go to these record deals, you want to have leverage. You want to be able to go to the table just like you would in any other form of fashion, dealing with people in the music business, dealing with people in the clubs, dealing with people in any walks of life. You want to be able to control and hold your own. So if you can hold your own, you can kind of, change the conversation at the table. If I could come to a table with my own 100 grand or my own 50 grand, it sounds a lot different than me saying I need all your money. Nah, I just need a little bit. And then you can change that percentage on the back end. You can negotiate your contracts, and it's hard to do that when you don't have no leverage. A lot of these artists go in these record games butt naked. They don't have nothing to give. All they want to
Knock
say
out
is that
those
they talented.
360 deals.
Right. That's what they end up with. They end up with 360s because they ain't have nothing. And the label created everything for them. They give them the format. They give them the money. They give them the ideals to say, hey, man, you could do more than music. Let's put you on the road. Let's create merchandise. And they taking half the portions from you because they help you create it. But if you can go in the game with your own development, with your own plan, you can kind of create, your own avenue, your own way of life. So that was my whole goal.
Okay. So when we talking about funding for the independent artists, um, I'm gonna ask you two questions, and then I'm gonna pass it over to celebrity DJ Cat. Now, I hear artists talk about, well, I don't know who to go to. So when I met you, you was an artist, and we're talking about 2009, 2010.
Right.
And so, how did you build your network, and how did you acquire the resources that you have now? Just so artists know that it is all about networking. And I don't know what they heard, but like, your network is your net worth. And
Right.
so,
Right.
could you speak on that for me?
Yeah. That's kind of the basis of it. I learned a lot when I was out there on the road as an artist. And the main education portion that I grew from is me being on the road with Pitbull. I actually got a chance to travel with Pitbull on a couple different tours, and watching, a lot of the other artists, they got a chance to go back on the road. But me at the time, I ain't have no manager or nothing. I was doing it all on my own. So I had to learn how to follow through and reach back out and connect back with people, so I can figure out what happened the last go around. Why didn't I get pulled back on the tour, or how can I formulate my own tours? So the whole conception of me learning the business came from just watching and networking and elevating my own music career by just pushing myself. Like the beginning of my music career, man, it was like I was out here being my own manager and artist at the same time. It was funny at first because a lot of people, they'll talk to me over the phone, and I be talking as my personal self, using my government name, and everybody be like, yo, we can't wait to meet Louis. We can't wait to meet Louis. Not knowing they talking to Louis the whole time. But it was funny, but it built those relationships. So by the time the people met me, we already had a great understanding and a great relationship. So it never deterred nothing. It just made the relationship stronger. Like, yo, your business acumen is crazy. Like, we didn't even know that was you over the phone. We didn't know we was talking to the artist. We thought we was talking to the manager or the record label that was controlling the artist. So it kind of just grew from there. So I understood right then and there that my business acumen was way higher than, the music aspect, but the relationships grew so big that I was like, yo, it's way bigger than music. It's way bigger than music. I get pulled on shows and events and opportunities from the business side than I ever do with the talent. So, that definition and that term that a lot of people always say in the music business is 90% business and 10% music. It's true. I learned that on my own. So, that's kind of the start of it, man. And it just developed as time went on. my music career developed. I started paying attention to, you know, the pros and cons, the things that was working, and put away all the things that didn't work. And I just did the same thing for the artists that I met along the way. I showed them the stuff that worked and deterred away from the things that didn't work. And, you know, just kept a real rough analysis on, you know, the things that we were doing for myself and for the other artists. And it just became, you know, I had a real great liking to it. So that's why I still help the artists to this day, because I just like seeing results, man. I like people come back to me and saying, yo, man, you really helped me out. So it just grew, man. I just love this game that long, man. That much.
Okay. So, want to talk about a couple other things before I get to that. Packaging and presentation. And the reason I'm asking about this is because packaging and presentation has to be at a real high level when you're trying to reach private investors, hedge fund groups, and angel investors. So if you can talk about the packaging and presentation when you're trying to reach, you know, the angel investor, the hedge fund group, and the private investor.
Yeah, it's basically, man, like you know, that saying, cleanliness next to godliness. You want to have a clean presentation. You know, somebody told me a long time ago, you know, when you building your websites and you showing your portfolios and things, you want to have it clean like a dentist's office. So I took that and I ran with it, and everything that I kind of saw doing, it just, you know, caught people's eyes, because I always been like that anyway, man. Like when you first met me, man, I was running around with 10,000 CDs pressed up, you know, the flies to match, shirts and stuff to go with it. So I just kept that because it worked, man. I don't change nothing if it working. So, you know, it just caught a lot of people's attention. And, you know, when we do the press kits, we include all that. We include your CDs, your press kit, your bios, everything inside the press kit, so it can look very professional, because, like I say, it just worked for me. And, you know, that got me a couple private investors. I got some private investors that's on the team and actually just, you know, come in with the funding. You know, I had a partnership with this angel investor. Maybe we got a relationship for over 4 years now, and we're in the process of pushing this rock and roll artist. So, you know, and it comes from that, man. It really comes from just having a clean presentation, you know, looking professional. You know, even the guy, when he approached me, he was just like, he loved the way our websites and everything look. And I just keep everything in that same format. Nice, clean, straight to the point, not all over the place, you know, and it just worked, man. Like I say, if it worked, just stick with what works.
Okay. So, Celebrity DJ CatX, what's up, brother?
Yes, sir. What's good with you?
Man, everything good, man. So, first I'm gonna say salute. You know, celebrity DJ, promoter, industry connector, just all around good dude. Mixed Mafia DJ, salute. You know, so you as a DJ and a connector and an industry plug, man. What are some things that you look for when artists is trying to get you to spin their records, or artists want you to put them on shows? What are some things that you look for?
I mean, you know, I come from the old school. You know, I first started, like I say, as a DJ, a record breaker. You know, I've always been a record breaker. That was my first passion for this whole thing. When I used to break the record, it was really no money involved. It was about me being the person to break the record, and that's how I gained my name, because I would break the record and they didn't pay me. When you ask what I look for in the record from a club aspect, you got different aspects that you look for. First of all, you got the club aspect. You know, when you put it on, it would immediately move the crowd. Okay, that's the first thing you want to know. Because I guess you have to determine, is this going to be a club record, a banger to make everybody dance, or is it a rap song? Because I think nowadays, most of the music It's on the ride tip. It's not even on the dance tip anymore. It's on the in the car and bobbing their head. So they not dancing. Some of the main things I look for is the physical. I look for them to have a look, not per se copying the next person, but a look that's original, it's authentic, with the voice or some type of pattern with the same thing that's authentic, not copying. Because nowadays, most of the artists are just following the next artist. Nobody dares to be original anymore. I'm gonna say it like that. Dares to be original anymore. They just follow the next artist. And
I second that.
yeah, and we just try to catch the person that's different. I mean, if you listen to the arsenal of some of the people that I deal with and I work with, they're like in their own lane by themselves at all. And now they're starting to see what I've been preaching is starting, to work for them. Like I deal with a lot of artists. They're not, what's the word to use here? I got like 5. They're not major, but they're always doing shows. They're always putting records out, with good numbers. And I try to tell the artists, you don't have to be in the top 50, top 100 to be an artist in this industry and get paid. It's just a matter of how you present yourself and what you do, show. I try to show the artist how to
Marketing.
with the radio, the distribution, why you need this, why you need that. And, it's various things that I work with them, with. And that's why when me and Lou got together, it was almost like a perfect fit because I was doing, shows and my thing, the artist showcase. When I was doing the showcase, my thing is about getting each artist that came to the event to teach them something before they leave. I wanted them to have something besides just getting up there and doing your song, and when the song is over, that's it. I wanted them to have something after the fact that was going to benefit them, in the future.
Okay. And so, from that aspect, man, as far as when it comes to you working with other DJs, so if the record is hot from an artist that you get, is like a whole DJ family that breaks the record, or is it just solely you breaking the record?
Well, any record that I get behind and I give it to a DJ, it usually gets automatic play because everybody know how serious I am about that. Back in my day, the word was whack. We don't play or push whack records. It wasn't about like how it is now. If the record whack, you just keep throwing it down. It wasn't like that. The record didn't have that lip. If the record didn't do nothing for me in 10 seconds, I wouldn't do it. And yes, I do have a whole bunch of DJ coalition brothers. Like right now, we're going to have the Southern DJ Conference in Birmingham, Alabama, January 13th through the 15th. And I'll have 12 DJ coalitions there. Nerd DJ, Deplete DJ, all of the major big DJs. And me and my crew is trying to do something better. DJ crew, because DJ crews are becoming the A&Rs now. But they're all separate. So what we're trying to do is put like 13 of them together in one set. Artists can come instead of just having to go to each DJ coalition and, do your thing in front of, we bring you in front of all of us. And you get to do your thing at a time, and you get, whatever you can get right there, 15 DJ shows.
Okay. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. You heard what he said. Putting everybody in one room and getting it cracking. So that's what I'm talking about. So next we have I don't want to butcher your name. So if you can tell me how it's pronounced, I don't like to butcher people's names. So you know what I mean.
Lisa, matter of fact, you should ask
Who you got?
Yeah, I think he's talking about you, Jamexy.
Me? Jamexy you talking about?
Okay, Jamexy. Okay. I didn't want to get it wrong. I didn't want to get it wrong. So, so.
No, that's all right.
Um, tell us about your production company, and I actually want you to talk about contract negotiations, registration, and the royalties that artists get paid from.
All right. So, yeah, my name is Gemexi. I own Gemexi Productions. I've been in the music business and doing a bunch of stuff for over 20 years. I always start at the foundation, like the artists have to, build brick by brick, like we were discussing. So it always starts out, with who is involved making the composition. I refer to a song as the baby. So, you've got to start with your fundamentals. You got to get split sheets. You got to get names. You got to get their IPI number, writer info. If you're dealing with someone who's new that's not signed up, we help you with that, but we try to, get everything proper so that when we submit that for registration, you're able to get all of your different streams of royalties, which, just to touch on a high level, there's actually anywhere from 6 to 8 ways that you can actually get paid off of one song. And it's just a matter of linking things, putting it together, and making sure you're signed up with the right platforms, right? Contracts, I'm going to kind of loop back around what Lou was talking about in the beginning. So when you're an independent, it's better to try to do everything that you can yourself to retain as much income as you possibly can. I don't knock record deals either. I just knock their contracts. I don't like their sell your soul contracts, 360s, to where you're coming to the table and they're in complete control. So my thing is that you have to have a good business sense, and you have to understand how it operates from the back end on forward, because again, music is more, like Lou said, it's 85 to 90% business and the rest is talent. So you have to build a strong foundation. And that's what I work with a lot of big artists on the reggae side. Big names. I'm Iwayne's manager, to name one. I work with Sizzla Kalonji, which we shall not discuss the recent news with DJ Khaled, however. But I have, I do distribution, I do publishing, I do all of it. So, I don't know if there's specific things you wanted me to touch on, or if you guys want to kind of ask me questions, or how did you want to?
Sure. So as far as the contract negotiations, whether it be management, whether it be a production deal, whether it be a label deal, let's talk about those black bold letters in that fine print and what artists really don't understand. Because I tell artists all the time, if you don't know how to understand what we call music lingo, then you're going to be lost.
The main thing that comes, go ahead.
I think artists look for some numbers on the contract. They don't really read the contract through and through. So most artists can't tell me that they have read at least, like, if you got a 30-page contract, they may read 2 or 3 pages.
Right.
What I mean? And if you don't have an attorney or some type of legal aid that's been in the music business, then you're definitely not going to understand these contracts. And so, just want to talk about the contract negotiations, the BMI, the ASCAP, the CSAC, artists understanding how to chart billboards, and also understanding sound change and BDS and like things that artists don't study through and through, and they be scratching their heads when they're missing money. It's because you haven't studied the business. So it's called business. So that means that it's business. Like I tell artists all the time, if you don't understand that there's so much corporate structure when it comes to the entertainment industry, then you're never going to make any money. Somebody is always going to control the narrative of your money. So it's like somebody else is going to babysit your money and give you what they want you to have.
Well, knowledge is key. And first and foremost, I recommend, if anybody is dealing with a contract, that you have an attorney look through it, because that's going to be your biggest weapon. But the main 3 things that I can tell you to look out for is composition clauses. Composition clauses are where They always get you. You always want to look for any advances if they're recoupable. And you need to understand that if they're giving you, $100,000 and they're building it and structuring it as a recoup in the contract, that means that before you start to make $1, they have to recoup every cent that they advanced you, and then the terms and the conditions of the contract kick in. So you always want to look out for the recoupments. You want to look out for composition clauses. You want to look out for master rates. You want to look out if they give you a publishing deal. You have to look how much are they going to collect and how much are they actually going to own. So, and there's the term, there's the assignment. You always, I tell everybody to stay away from in perpetuity, right? Because that means for life. So if you see that word, be very cautious, because that's a red flag right there, that's a classic, what we call sell your soul contract, right? So you want to look for these things, and you need, like, especially, touching on a publishing deal, you need to look at the term. You need to figure out, okay, how long, what are the termination requirements? Because this is where they get you as well. Do you have to provide a written notice within 30 days of X time, or does it automatically renew for another year? So you need to look at the termination clauses, the arbitration clauses, whether you can take it before a court or if they have to be settled in a mediation office. So there's so much that's built into it, assignments and assignees. If you pass away, your beneficiaries, like, there's so much. So I always recommend to everybody, if you have a contract, try to get an attorney to review it. And in that case, it's worth the investment of paying, a couple $100 for an hour of an attorney's time, or somebody at least who knows the business and is very well versed in contracts, right? And then to kind of jump over, that's just an overview. Obviously, we could spend all day on that. But to kind of jump over into just the creation of a composition, you have your 50% share for your artists and writers, and then you have your 50% share for production. You need to define who's going to retain master ownerships. Is it going to be that you're going to split that with everybody, or is somebody going to retain 25%, 30%, whatever? Because that's where you were touching on, where Sound Exchange would come in. Because with Sound Exchange, you can also collect as an artist, but also as a rights owner. So if, for instance, Lou voiced on a track that I produced, but I had the great Dean Frazier come in and play some keys and horns on me, so us two are going to split 25-25 on that, and he gets his 50% writer credit. He would be able to go to Sound Exchange, claim his artist share at 100%, and if we decided to say, all right, we're going to kick you back 15 cents out of every dollar, or give you 15% of the master, then he would be able to register collecting that 15% share. I would register for my part, and then Dean would register for his part. So there's a lot of working components that factor into everything and making it all work, because you have to go back and think about distribution for a minute. When you release a song and you put it for sale, they assign it an ISRC code. I always say it's like, you're the baby's born, so that's the baby's social, right? It goes out into the world, and that's how we track it. So if that ISRC code is not linked to your publishing records, which breaks down who actually is a contributor to the composition, then you miss out on your mechanical royalties, right? Which is another stream of income. So it gets easy as it's easy. It gets easier as you learn, and the more knowledge you have, the better. But these are the meticulous things and the working parts. It's almost like a Rolex or a watch. You have to put everything together and map everything together to get it to where you're getting all your money, because otherwise you're just going to miss it. Another thing is also, it depends on which society you're signed up with too, because, like, for instance, with BMI, they'll automatically collect for your publisher share. Whereas if you're signed up with ASCAP, they'll only collect for your writer's share. And if you don't sign up for a separate publishing company, or have an actual publisher, you'll lose out on half of your money right then and there. So people need to be very aware of not only who they're signing up with as their PRO, which is to get your writer number. I always say it's like, your personal social for music, or your TRN for music, because that is always going to be assigned to you. So no matter if you ever switch any society, whether you go to BMI, ASCAP, PRS, JCAP, whatever it is, that number will always remain the same. and that's how they track your work. So all of this needs to be, taken into consideration, and it needs to go through a structure, and it's a thought process, so it's a lot to cover in an overview, but there's just multiple working parts that you have to consider. Zan,
Okay.
so
Question for you. You just dropping bombs. But this stuff I'll be able to tell a lot of artists. You said a lot better than I can. Can an artist have BMI, ASCAP, and seconds?
no, you can only be affiliated with one PRO and you have to wait until your termination period comes up, and you have to, again, it goes back to our contracts, you have to notify them within a certain time that you're going to terminate, and you have to say if it's going to be for worldwide or which territories. You actually have to get a relinquishment letter from them to actually join another PRO. So you can only be with one society at one time.
They actually want to know before you're trying to terminate the contract or before it renews, because if you don't contact them, it automatically renews on its own. And
Right. So you got to
so-
read that clause. That's that termination clause I was talking about, because if most of them are like with ASCAP, for example, I just dealt with one of these today. When you log into your writer account, it actually specifies your relinquish period is between October 1st and December 31st. So as long as they receive a request for relinquishment within that time, it'll take effect, but it doesn't kick in for the following quarter. So you're still, you relinquish now, but then you still remain a member with them for the next quarter, and they still collect on everything through the next quarter. And then you can take that relinquishment and sign up with another society.
Right. Because I myself have relationships with the office in New York, with the office in LA, the office in Nashville, and the office in Atlanta. And so I know they at least, if you want to terminate with BMI, they at least want to know within 90 days of that date that is getting renewed.
Of the expiration date, right?
So I tell artists, if they want to know 90 days, then you should start doing this 6 months before that contract is going to get renewed. At least 6 months. Because if you doing that, you got a million other artists trying to do it as well.
Yep, and you have to keep track. That's a very good point, because you have to keep track of your collectability, because you have to remember any song that's created or come into play before that contract expires, that technically has to be registered with that PRO, and you can't just wait until that expires and then go and register it. So everything is based on creation date, release date, and distribution date. So you have to be very careful. That's again why the contracts are so long and wordy, and that's how these people end up, making their money. So it's attention. What do we say? The devil's in the details, right? So it's always paying attention to the details,
Right. So, appreciate.
Let me get one more back up. Because I got, the people listening. I want the artists to hear that. What is the best pro to sign up for BMI or ASCAP?
Can you repeat that again, Lou? Because you're kind of cutting out on me, babe. Your phone's cutting in and out.
What is the best pro to sign up for BMI ASCAP?
In my opinion?
Yes.
I'm going to say BMI. And the reason I say BMI is because most of your heavy hitters are with them, and it's earlier. They will automatically collect on the 200%, which means they'll collect your publisher share for you automatically. And ASCAP, like I said before, if you don't create a different entity and sign up with them as a publisher to get a publishing IPI, then you lose half of your money. So if you're trying to be as independent as you can and do things yourself, I definitely, for the US, I recommend BMI.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Most definitely. Like you said, a lot of heavy hitters are with BMI, so I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
And their process is just so much easier. I mean, I work in both systems every day, and both interfaces, they have their pros and cons. But when it comes down to reporting, accountability, collectability, and just everything being easy to deal with, especially when you have like work request modifications, BMI kills it all day. Trust me, just like he said, he works with everybody. I do too. I have my own people. I have my own rep where when I need something done, I just email them. I don't even have to go through revised works anymore because I would find too many things and they got tired of hearing from me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, man, work your BMI, man. It's so many things on that BMI, man. Like I tell people all the time, man, like you got songs in your archive. You can go on BMI and put song for hire. Come on, man. Go ahead. I ain't gonna
And
say
don't
it.
forget about your live performances. I mean, here, you know what? That's good that we touch because a lot of artists, they miss that stream of income because they don't realize when they perform live, they're supposed to keep track of their set list. They can register that set list. And as long as each of those songs that are on that set list are registered, you claim your live performance and now you create another stream of income that they pay you out for. And it goes for international as well. So even if you perform that's somewhere not in their system, you can submit this is what they don't tell you, but you can submit a manual ticket for all of your international performances. And as long as you have the date, the venue, the address, and all of the pertinent information, they'll bill that neighboring society for that performance and you will get paid. And a lot of artists don't do that part.
You're right. And I've always told artists, make sure whatever venue, whether it's an open mic, whether it's a promotional show, whether it's a paid show, man, you got to make sure that these venues is registered up under your PRO. And if
Even
they
when
are
you do
not,
a live stream, even nowadays, when you do a live stream or you perform live or you're at a festival and they're live streaming, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Right. And so, Lou, I wanted you to go ahead and because I was going to talk about it, but I know that you can give us a little bit more information because I'm no artist. I'm management, PR, artist development, so I'm not an artist. But tell them about that song for hire on BMI, man.
Yeah. You sign up for that work for hire, you able to, I actually got a lot of songs that, got picked up from other people to do the cover song. So even if you're doing a cover, the artist that's doing the cover, they get a percentage for doing the cover, and you still get your percentage for being the original writer. So
that's a sync. Yeah, easy song licensing and a sync.
Right. So and you gotta take heed to the fact that a lot of, especially hip hop, we don't pay attention to stuff like that. But R&B, they big in that world. You just gotta look at people like Whitney Houston. She song Dolly Parton's song took it platinum. Both got paid, but Whitney Houston's became the star. So we can do that in the hip hop world as well. But a lot of these artists, they don't think that's a whole nother world, man, that they haven't tapped into. So I tell anybody, I'm with BMI. I take advantage of things like that. So do
And we
it.
ain't
Take
even
advantage of
touched
it.
on YouTube or Content ID or
Right, Content ID.
fingerprints in or any of this other stuff. Like there's just a lot. There's another company called Soundmouse that's wicked. They actually are. So just kind of hear this. I'm gonna just touch on it level. So I'm a publisher and a distributor, right? So when I drop a song, I not only do all of my registrations on my end, but I'm also a music manager with Soundmouse. So they're the company that actually gets the reporting from the world territories and sends it back to your PROs to get paid. So it's like a double insurance that at the same time I release a song on my end, I go and take that metadata and plug it into Soundmouse so that song indeed shows back up on the reports to get the artist paid. So you got to learn how to do it 360 where you're covering it from front to back. So you ensure that you're getting paid. And that's not even to touch on producers who make instrumentals. Y'all should be registering your instrumentals first because then the original composition will bounce back up to you. And if you Content ID it, then that's a whole nother other thing. The new song that's created will bounce back twice and you'll get paid twice. But those are some diamonds. You got to come to the class to hear about that, boy. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna drop
yeah,
them
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
tonight,
yeah.
boy.
So I couldn't eat. Now, before I'm gonna let him go, so I'm gonna tell you, Louis is one of my longtime partners. I couldn't eat is a newest partner. We've been rocking for about a good year, but we're rocking with him. Me and him have started 910 Sports Podcast, which is doing very well. We started the 95 Podcast Network, which is doing very well. Interviewed a lot of actors that's been on the Shy. Interviewed gospel standout Quandra Saints. Interviewed just a lot of heavy hitters on their platform. But he also has been in the management side of music for 20 years. And so I'm gonna let him speak on management, podcasting, radio bandwidth.
Well, basically, I've been in the business on and off since like 97, 98. I actually started off as an A&R with an independent company in North Carolina, and that's kind of how I learned kind of the game in the beginning. Then I got out of it for a while, went into the military. I so happened my brother was rapping, so I started managing them. I was managing them, his group, and a few other artists in Florida, and we were promoting and marketing our own shows. We was I was managing several artists. Got my brother signed to a deal with Universal. After at the time like oh 07, oh 08, but then he ended up getting like sick, like to like almost bedridden, on the brink of death type sick. So he ended up like having to walk away from the music game or whatever. So I ended up moving to Atlanta and was managing and artists and promoting and marketing shows and different things up out here in Atlanta. Then I got into the internet online radio station side where I was had my own radio. I was doing radio when internet radio wasn't a thing. Like it was only 5 or 6 people in Atlanta that was really doing it seriously. And I was interviewing everybody from Ludacris to Rich the Kid. I mean, not Rich Kid, the Rich Kids to Kiki Palmer, different people going to all the major events, Pop Block Magazine, Luda Day, everything that was moving out here in Atlanta. I was going to it and doing live broadcasting and red carpet type events and stuff. So when it comes to the management side, the one thing that I learned is twofold. If nothing else, is the most important thing is the relationship that you have with the artist and the artist understanding what the management job is and the artist understanding what their job is. Because a lot of times I think artists get misconstrued of that the manager is supposed to put his own money up like a record label. And then when you start getting into that, then you start getting to more of a production deal. That's why a lot of artists end up like getting raked out their deals or situations because they got into a situation with a management company, and all of a sudden they that management company start either like voluntarily putting money into it, or they think the manager is supposed to put more money into it. Now that structure, that deal changes because they gonna recoup their money just like a record label gonna recoup their money. That's why I say there's a difference between a management company and a service provider company. Service provider company is a company that call themselves a management company, but they charge you a monthly fee. You know what I'm saying? $500, $600, $700, like a PR firm or something, or whatever. You know what I mean? To manage your career, or to say they manage your career, but that's not really what they're doing. They're providing a service more than a management. So that's one thing. And a lot of times with artists don't artists think they know more than the manager and they're not on the same page. And then they get into these rooms and they don't know how to talk to people. So, like, take for instance, like earlier this year, I was in an event at the Grammy pre-party with executives, and the executives in the room, they like, look, at the end of the day, we want the artists to come and just introduce themselves. And the artists a lot of times stand over in the corner and don't want to even talk. They expect the manager to do everything, but it's about building relationships. The management side, we have to build those relationships, and that's like everybody on this panel said, is 90% business, 10% talent. So as a manager, if I don't have relationships with business, it don't matter what I do or what that artist is doing, it ain't gonna make a difference. And then another thing too, artists get a manager when they don't need them. If you don't have a brand, if you don't have a catalog, if you haven't even produced anything valuable or whatever to the business, why you even have a manager? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to build yourself first. You know what I'm saying? So those are just kind of little nuggets that I'm gonna be talking about. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what I did, I positioned myself to be able to do everything, not just manage. Like I say, do A&R. You know, I'm part of ABL Consulting, where I can do FM brokering. You know, and get your help get your music put on radio if you have a budget and all those type of things. So, you know what I mean? And like podcasting kind of came the way we built the podcast kind of came by accident. I just did it really in the beginning because I was bored. I like talking sports, and I wanted something to do. Because I like being in radio, and then it just kind of took on a life of itself because me and my partner over here built relationships and started doing interviews, valuable interviews, and valuable. And we had a niche. So at the beginning, our niche was the youth. You know what I'm saying? Interviewing college athletes and high school athletes that came from smaller schools and smaller environments. And then it kind of took on a life for itself. And then we got into the 95 South, which was about mental health, relationships, politics, other things. And then we were able to interview celebrities, you know what I'm saying, and different people across the board. Like last week we did Big Sam, we did Big B of the Nappy, Big Sam of Lil Jon and the Five Boys. Like you said, we did Quantum Banks, a world-renowned gospel singer. We did a producer a couple of weeks ago that produced for like Chris Brown and nominated for Grammy with her. And then, you know, and so those things came about. And of course, you know, the superstar himself, Lou Almighty. You know what I'm saying? So those things, those off about built off of relationships, not off of just being trying to get likes and those things. So that's the kind of thing I help people. And we got people like lined up trying to get on our show, whether either get an interview or want to be part of our network. And that's just about us being genuine people. You know what I'm saying? So I try to teach people along the lines of those things of how to approach this business when it comes to management, podcasting, radio, those things. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like my man Cat X up there, where you know I'm old school. So a lot of what we do is more like almost an old school approach. It's not even really based off of what you see on social media numbers. It's based off that old school approach of networking and building relationships.
Appreciate that. I can appreciate that. So next we have you know, none other than Skeeter Jones. What's good, brother? How you?
Oh man, I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed.
Good, man. Welcome, man. So want you to chime in on who you are, what you represent, and I want you also to chime in on entertainment production, music production, and music placement.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
He said, "Oh wow."
Jones, man. I'm a hip hop artist. For those that don't know, hip hop is rap. I developed my own sound. I'm the first person to bluegrass country rap music, and trademarking it as AK. I'm bluegrass, AK rap brass. You know, it's a difference in record production. So that's why I developed my own sound, my own lane. You know, trying to be a trendsetter. I produce all genres. I write. I vocal produce. I got a production. The goal is players did it. I produce quite in the industry. I'm scoring right now in my team. Out of situation.
I can't hear you. The phone is chipping like in every other word.
Are you the only one that or can anybody else hear?
So what it is when you talk, it's that whoop, 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 whoop in the background.
You say that ain't my phone, that's somebody else's phone doing it. Some of that little noise.
Jacob, you might have to mute yours for a second, I think.
Yeah, that's somebody else's phone making that
You
noise.
like your phone in the background.
Oh, shit. Hello? Let me see something. Yeah, see, I muted my mic. I don't know. Can y'all hear me now? All right, so yeah, man, I you know, production. Like I said, this is different than a beat maker and a record producer. You know, a record producer that can produce actual records can develop you your own sound, not just be copying the sound that's out and just making. Beat maker just a record producer produce a whole record. So he might bring you guitar players, whatever it takes to totally complete that record all the way to the mix and you might get certain mix, give you different textures, and you might have a certain genre that need, a certain texture. So I got different people for different lanes. As far as placement, man, the placement game. Oh man, it could be an ongoing circle nowhere. It's really based off, and and basically dealing with an artist that has a label or somebody that has the budget to really break a record. That's what it all boils down. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want you to have some kind of business with them before they put that kind of on your record. But it's game on winning situation, and like I say, it's more about who you know than anything. Because they can take anybody music and put a bag behind it and make it do. I'm doing a lot of placements right now. Some BET Plus movies, couple feature films, and I'm basically supervising them. That ain't an easy field to get into. Man, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for talking this much.
It's fine, bro. We appreciate it, man. So on the workshop, I definitely want you to talk about the production and the levels of the production and how people get into the music production business as well and landing a licensing deal. So we'll save all that for the workshop, but I definitely appreciate you, tapping in with us, man. I salute to you for all that you've already done.
No
man. Doubt.
I appreciate
This is their sneak peek, man. They be getting some diamonds and some bombs on this, boy. They better tune into the class for some real stuff.
Yeah. So man, I just let y'all know about me, man. I'm King Jacob, man. Also known as Jacob Jones in the industry, man. I have Kennard Music Group, Kennard Media. Been in the industry for a very long time, man. Started off in Washington, D.C. Started doing street team promotion. Very first promotion was on the What Wood No Radio tour. And so outside of that, after doing the club promotion and street team promotions, I got into the management side, but just helping indie artists, teaching them the business and whatnot, and worked there for a little while, man. And now I'm on the PR side, marketing, branding, writing press releases, electronic press kits, connected with tons of radio stations, tons of music festivals, and just getting artists to the next level on the PR side or a business on the PR side. And I tell people that branding, marketing, and publicity is very important in any type of business that you're in. You know, you might have a good manager, but that don't mean that they are great at public relations. Everybody has a quote unquote job to do that's on your team. And
Yeah.
for the people that's on your team, you should get people who are experts in management, expert in PR, expert in street team promotions, expert in A&R, and you know. And I tell people all the time, you know, when it comes to A&R, a independent A&R consultant is a person that is like super dope at what they do. They have all the relationships with labels, with radio stations, with the music festival, with the music supervisor, get you song to film, and so you know. But I've going from the management side to the PR side. It's totally different world. It's a different world. I learned so much about public relations, marketing, branding, advertising, and I tell artists all the time, if I see Snoop Dogg doing a advertisement through Facebook, and I don't see an indie artist doing advertisement through Facebook, I think something wrong with that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because your advertisement through social media can start, it can go from $10 to on up. It don't have to be a big budget. You know what I mean? But you can put $50 to run a campaign for 30 days. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You could do $1 a day. You could do $1 a day and let it build up from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, really, God is with you.
Right. So you know, that's very important. And another thing is important. I think when it comes to if you run a business or you're an entertainer, man, talk to your fans, man. Like, man, I don't care. I don't care if you go on Facebook Live. I don't care if you put content out on YouTube. Man, talk to your fans, man. Tell them what you got coming or tell them a story, man. I remember back in 2000, you know, I was writing a song, man, and I had seen something happen. I seen it on news and the song just, what I saw just got me buzzing. So I've never put this out, but I just want to put a little snippet out for y'all. Like, engage with them, man. Like, they want to hear from you, man. You know what I mean? Like I came from the era where people went to the mall and did CD signings, when people did free concerts in the park, and when people would sell 40, 50,000 out their trunk in one summer. You look at them, Louis D, or Lou Almighty. You know what I mean? Selling CDs out the trunk, man, and just going from state to state. He did that. You know what I mean? So I think the digital era has made artists real lazy. Real
Lazy. Let's say it again. Lazy.
Lazy. So, you know.
So what about Lou? Why don't you drop all the info to get in on this seminar and what the cost is and where they can sign up and how they get on it?
Yeah, the Eventbrite page is the classified music course workshop. Just go to Eventbrite and just look up the classified music course, or you can follow me on my Instagram. I am Louis D. The best thing is to go to classifiedmusicgroup.com. We'll have all the updates by tomorrow morning, so people can just go to the website. And then kick off Saturday. We're gonna push a couple of the other dates back past the holidays because we got a lot of people intrigued, but you know, a lot of people, you know, I don't knock them. I'm not really a big buyer during the holiday times. I'm not gonna let nobody take money out my pocket and have my family think I only love them one time out the year. But you know, I don't knock nobody. So we we gonna push it back. You know, a little bit after the new year. You know, probably the first weekend after the new year. All the updates will be on the website. And you know, like I say, just follow everybody on social media. You know, follow Jamexy, follow DJ Cadex, follow Skeeter Jones, and follow myself. I am Louis D. And you know, we'll keep everybody informed, updated from our social media pages. And you know, like I say, everything from me will really be on my website. You go to imlouisd.com or the main website, classifiedmusicgroup.com, and we have all the updates. We'll have the prices. Right now, we got the early bird starting at 75, but once the early birds sell out, the prices go up. The different packages, you can get the 1 day course, or you can get the whole course, which will be like a 3 day. So, but we will be kicking this off at least once a month after the new year. So, you know, we're gonna keep everybody informed. There's a lot of information that we're gonna be providing.
All right, you heard it first, man. The Chatterbox with King Jacob with, the music channel. We'll have discussion. We're gonna teach them things on Saturday, man. And I just want to thank everybody for coming on. But I will tell you this: after we are done with this music workshop, I will be bringing everybody back for their own personal interview, and we're going to be talking about your business and what you do and how your business is going to help grow the community. Because I am a big community guy. You know what I mean? So when it comes to your business, how are you going to embrace the community, and how are you going to change the narrative on what the community has been facing for the last 20 years? So, but I want to thank y'all for coming on, man. It's been a star-studded episode, and peace and blessings to everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Right.
Definitely
Big up. So
appreciate the
Saturday.
invite.
So we see everybody
Big up.
Saturday.
Saturday at
Saturday.
5 o'clock. Saturday at 5. We kicking it
5
off.
o'clock. Yes, sir.
We got all the superstars lined up again. So if you missed us tonight, you got another time to catch us, man. It's like having Prince, Michael Jackson in one goddamn building. You know,
That's
so
right.
you barely gonna get that. You know, so I appreciate even y'all for being a part. You know, and Jacob, I appreciate for the invite. You know, for having me and my people on. You know, thank y'all, man. Peace.
Hey,
Hey.
All right. Yeah,
peace.
man. Big up. Yeah.